Video is designed for students that are in the 6th grade at Grant County Middle School, and it covers Unit 7, Learning Target 3, which is on Monsoon Asia. This particular learning target is discuss struggles China faces to provide energy and economic growth in their very populous country, which basically means what are some of the issues China faces because they have so many different people. And on this, to prepare for this, there's a lot of different areas that you can go to. For example, I'll refer you to this chart on your study guide. And if you look at this chart on your study guide, you'll see, whoops, sorry about that. You'll see that you have the one-child policy and the Three Gorges Dam. And these were two major things that we discussed. And if you go over the benefits and the cost of each of these items, that's going to be really helpful to you. Like, for example, why did they feel the need for the one-child policy? Well, they wanted to slow their population growth, and they wanted to reduce the strain on their food and water supplies. And they also saw the benefit of when parents only have one child, that child is much more likely to be healthy and to be cared for because they only have the one that they are taking care for. However, it does have costs. The cost of the one-child policy was farming families need more workers, so they want more kids in order to have their farm be more profitable. It led to a preference of sons over daughters, and so there was a lot of daughters that have been early on they were aborted, but that practice became illegal, and then later on they would set them up for adoption or just straight out abandon them. And so there's a lot of Chinese young girls who were basically orphans because they were abandoned. And so the Chinese would do this because they wanted a son instead of a daughter. That way the family name and legacies would get carried on. Another issue is eventually for China, having fewer kids is going to lead to some of the problems we saw in Europe, which means there's going to be fewer people to help the elderly care. Eventually your population is going to age, which is going to lead to some of those problems that we also talked about in Europe. The second thing we discussed was the Three Gorges Dam. Benefits where it provided a lot of clean energy. It allowed them to have control of the water, so flood control, and allowed for more river shipping because they can now control the depths of the river, and so they could ship more things on the rivers. However, the cost of doing this was a loss in ancient settlements, a loss of cities and towns, and a habitat loss for the animals that live there. And we mentioned the Chinese dolphin, river dolphin, and the paddlefish were two things that have become endangered species as a result of this dam. And then there's also this worry about all this weight of the concrete of the dam as well as the water sitting near a fault line, that it might spur an earthquake in China. So that's another thing that was discussed. So if you can kind of go over that chart and all the basically things that the Chinese had to do to prepare for their growing population, then you should be able to do very well on this learning target. Good luck.